So you don't know where you're going to stand?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stand right up in the middle there.
Okay.
Hopefully it tags. All right, everybody. My name is Matt Laffredo. So, thank you all for inviting us all out here. It looks like we've got a good group of people here. Some business owners, some people who already have some good knowledge, like yourself. I was briefly involved with the Libertarian Party. I don't consider myself part of any political party anymore, but I was around during those days with Harry Brown. We went to the national conventions down in Washington, D.C., I think 98 up there. So that started to open up my mind. Also, just growing up in the town, and my parents, you know, I'm not a polished speaker. I'm not a politician. I'm not very eloquent. I don't have no fancy law degrees, you know. But what I do have is some basic common sense. I wasn't born with it, but I had maybe a little bit, but I was always a natural skeptic. And my parents ingrained that in me a little bit. Friends, just the people I was with around. And as I got older in high school, a friend of mine, his name's George Broussard, he turned me on to a lot of things, opened my mind. I thought he was crazy at first, whatever. And then once he started, why don't you check this out? And I got to question a lot of things, brought up a lot of good ideas about government, what their powers are, what our rights are, how much freedoms we're giving up. So basically what I want to briefly talk about today is, you know, I want to touch on a touch of history, who are the puppet masters here, and then bitch a little bit about the government, not too much, but I want to get more into the solutions. That's more important. We can bitch all we want, but until we take action, make solutions, that's where we're at. So basically, you know, our rights have been taken. In today's day, you know, last week at the rally down there, the protest down in Philly, they kept talking about, oh, the guys here 200 years ago, almost 244 years ago, 1776. This is a Sixer shirt. But it's the year I was born, not 1776, 1976. And I'm a big basketball fan, but it just went together with tonight's team. Those people, if they were living today, they won't be doing these nice little protests. That won't be happening. Something else will be going on. Hopefully we would never have to get to that point. But we can touch on it later. However, those guys, they were brilliant beyond their years. Most people wouldn't know that. Yeah, you're talking Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, James Madison, all those guys. They weren't perfect human beings. They had their own little issues. But they got away from a tyrannical government, which at that time was one of the more tyrannical governments in history, the British Empire. And they said enough's enough. They had a breaking point, and they came up with this Constitution. And, you know, in what they say in these, you know, in the Constitution, these rights are unalienable, or basically given to you by your Creator. Whether that's your higher power, God, I don't know what direction you want to go there. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't come from the government. The government's job is to let you protect your rights against those forces, foreign and domestic. That means right here. There's tyrants right here in this country. People think it's always from the outside. No. It's right here, right now. It's local, state, it's national, across the board. And, you know, people always say, like, well, you know, I do what the government says, you know, I don't want to get in trouble, blah, blah, blah. Well, who are these people? Like, who exactly are these people? Where do they come from? Like, what makes them think that they can play God with our lives? I don't want them playing God with my life, okay? I want to make decisions for myself. I'm just naturally competitive. I'm in sports, everything like that. I fought a lot when I was a kid. I grew up in a rough neighborhood, whatever. So I just had it in me. And I don't think these people, you know, you got Facebook and all these news sources fact-checking people. You know, if you post something positive about damn vaccines or what, oh, fact check say this is unreliable. Well, who's fact checking the fact checkers? That's what I'm saying. Who's doing that? You know, so these people, these elite, powerful, rich people a lot of times think it's the government. It's the people above the government who get these elite, rich people. It's not the 1%. Don't get caught up on the 1%. It's not even close to the 1%. It's the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. 1/10,000% or something. It's even probably higher than that. They're the one pulling the strings. They own all the horses in the race. They try to get all these people involved. You they have all their horses running. So no matter who wins, they still win. They still collect. And how do we break that chain? You know, we got to get people voting at the national level, in my opinion, just my opinion. I don't want to talk too much politics, but voting at the national level doesn't, it's almost impossible to make any kind of real change. You got to start grassroots, I believe. Start local, and you build it out from there. You know, so, but again, back to these people who want to play gods with our lives. There are watchers. They watch over us. You know, but my question is, who watches the watchers? Who fact checks the fact checkers? You know, and there was people 244 years ago, you know, all the Constitution guys, you know, they realized throughout history, you can look back, people think it's crazy that they think there's this tyrannical. Nah, they're not in your face killing and shooting people. They're doing it a little bit more subtle way. Throughout history, there's always people who go after power. Once they get wealthy enough, they want to get power. And they want to control people's lives. Now, some of them do it for good reasons, because some of them were very successful. They think, hey, I'm successful, I can teach, I can show the way. I know best. But to a certain degree, I agree with that a little bit, but too much, you know, they say absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's the truest thing. It's more addictive than any drug in the world is power. And once they get a taste of that, even well-meaning people, once they get a taste of that, they don't like giving it up. So what we can do, you know, I don't trust almost anything at the national level. So the solutions would be, what do we do as a people, you know, us coming out, well, who knows, we're not going to say the number of people, there's a good amount of people here. Little things like this, and then taking action. You get involved at the local level, local elections, you start there. You got the sheriffs, and this is just my special announcement. I found about this last night, but I wanted to do more research on this and get more in it, but I hit a damn deer last night and dealing with my car all night till 5 in the morning.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was bad. Down there.
The deer hit you, though.
Deer hit kind of, well, we kind of like met at the same point, you know? So, this is a statement from Lancaster County Sheriff. Our hearts and prayers are with those who have suffered from the loss of someone due to COVID-19 virus. Likewise, our hearts and prayers go out to those who have suffered financially from the quarantine orders. When taking a drastic step such as a quarantine, there must be a balance between public safety, as directed by the government, and the rights of the people. An action of the government, such as quarantine, takes decision-making away from the individual. It should be extremely rare and limited. Our United States Constitution and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania recognize individual freedom and liberties and weigh heavily in favor of the rights of the individual citizen. In recognition of this, our office will stand in defense of the individual rights of the citizens. Our office will not be enforcing any edicts from the governor's office as it relates to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are a government for the people, by the people. We believe that each person should exercise and bear personal responsibility in the best interests of themselves, their families, friends, and employees, and it is they, not the centralized government, who should make those decisions. May God bless the United States of America, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and each one of you. Sheriff Chris Lepler. So,
So from Montgomery County too, just for,
that was just Lancaster County,
right.
but he's one guy. We can get, I think it's Kilkenny here in Montgomery. Him, you get a group. All of a sudden, what's the state? What they gonna do? I mean, that's what we got. I don't know enough about the sheriff's role, how much power they have with the state and the national, but they have a good amount of power from what I understand. And we all need to research that a little bit more and bring that down to the people we know. But, you know, as far as COVID goes, you know, what we have here is a virus. When it first came out, I was like, you know what, a little shut down just until we know what we're working with. Let me see what's going on here. Then after a while, all the evidence started coming out. I didn't buy anything. Most people don't know that third world nations, there's people starving to death. They don't talk about that death toll. They don't have that on CNN, death count, case count. You know, I'm in the recovery field, so what? I'm a recovering alcoholic, okay? I met people in rehabs that are now dead. They OD'd, they drank themselves to death through this COVID. Because one thing we did learn about this whole COVID shutdown is there's an essential need of humans. That's human contact. Humans can't survive without human contact. I don't give a damn what anybody says. That's essential. I don't care what they say is essential. I say it's essential, and everybody else says it's essential. They shut down recovery meetings, AA meetings, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. They shut all that down for people, and people couldn't. They said, "Oh, do the Zoom." Zoom, it has its place, but it's nothing like being in person. And a lot of people were ODing, dying. The rates of the rehabs are going off the charts, and people, you can just. I know Trashman. They said, you look at everybody's recycling in the neighborhoods. It's piled with cans and bottles of liquor everywhere they go. And the alcoholism and the drug use is going off the charts. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not no medical expert. You got this, you got the Bill Gates, Fauci. People think you're conspiracy, but those guys, they have an agenda, which who knows? I don't want to get too deep into that, but I don't trust them one bit. They just eye test for me. And again, what we have to do is keep doing little things like this. Get yourself healthy. Physical health, mental health, spiritual health. Get yourself a basic and get good information. The problem is people today aren't getting good information. Most people getting their info from social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that. It's basically censored news. No matter what political party, it's censored. You know what I mean? And granted, they're private companies; they should be able to do technically whatever they want to do. But when you get that big, it gets on that gray area where is that a monopoly? You know what I mean? And all the news stations have an agenda to push. So what we do, I would like to do is sit down with people who have opposite viewpoints and have a discussion, but none of them want to have discussions. They just want to say, this is my viewpoint, this is what's good. No, let's sit down and talk, see what common ground we have, and let's build out from there. But I just believe too many people are brainwashed, and what we can do is put out information, accurate information. How do you get accurate information? It's very tough. But it comes with time. You just look at opposing viewpoints, look at it in between, and go from there. You know what I mean? And you kind of get a feel for it over time. That's the big part. We're in a war. We're not in a physical war. We're in a war for information, common sense, logic, and consistency. There's none of that today. And that's what I think we need to work on most. And going forward for me, it's like, when my son grows up, if this keeps getting worse, I want my son to be able to say to me, Dad, did you just sit there and take it, or did you actually try to do something about it? That's where I want to be. Everybody here has family, friends, younger, especially younger. I want them to be able to say to you, like, hey, my dad, my aunt, my uncle, sister, mom, grandma, they did something about it. They didn't roll over and take it. And that's basically where I'm at. I have a million more things, but that's basically, anybody got any questions? I can answer questions, whatever. So.
Talk about your facts, where you can get good information from. I follow this one guy. He's on Instagram, but he's very widely known. His name's Dream Rare. And he started this website. It's called exposedlockdowns.com.
I think I heard of it.
And you can go on there, and the numbers prove where the places with the strictest lockdowns are having the worst numbers per capita with deaths.
Yeah, New York. Yeah, absolutely.
With the other countries, nobody's talking about the mass suicides that's going on.
Suicides, yeah, it's off the charts.
It's
Absolutely,
insane.
yeah.
Yeah.
People drinking, drugging themselves to death, suicides, everything. Absolutely, yeah.
And New York is basically a ghost town compared to what it.
Oh, Manhattan, there's nobody on the streets. You used to go there
Yeah.
till all around the clock.
You
there'd be
couldn't
people
see
running
the
up and
road.
down.
You couldn't see
They
the
got
sidewalks.
They got most of their deaths.
They
from
left.
when
They ran
Cuomo
away.
And all the other governors put all the old people in the.
Old age
Right,
homes,
yeah.
yeah, the retirement homes, yeah.
Nice.
And he gets a, what did he get, an Oscar award or Emmy award or whatever he gets for it?
Hey, for
Just
best
get an
actor.
electric chair.
Phony. Yeah, he's a
Devil
phony for
signature,
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
So so her and I, we don't wear masks. We don't, and if we're asked to leave the place, we just leave. And I'm just trying to work this through in my head, and I'm saying it out loud. At what point, you get the sheriffs on board, because most sheriffs are on board. Most sheriffs have
Good
no
amount.
interest in coming out and arresting
Yeah, they don't
people.
want to do that. A lot of
No
them don't, at
interest.
least, yeah.
Were the cops at Oxford Valley Mall today turning tables over and shutting down the food court? Yep,
Oh, wow.
They were?
yep, they were.
Wow,
So
yeah.
this is what I'm trying to determine, okay, so you have the local.
They were in Oxford Valley Mall.
Yeah, You have the local police departments who are not upholding their oath, and you have the sheriff, like, and I've learned, I don't know, but I do research, the sheriff is up here.
Right.
Sheriff,
Mm-hmm.
you know, even over FBI, everybody, sheriff
Right.
is top notch.
Right.
So the sheriff is saying, and there's these laws that are saying that Wolf can't be doing what he's doing, but yet, so it's the people that are complying
Yeah.
that are allowing it.
There's a tipping point. I mean, if you get enough people to say no, then it's impossible to enforce. Impossible. That's right. But that's the problem. People, like some of these sheriffs, they don't want to just be sheriff. That's the problem with politicians. A lot of them want to be career politicians. That wasn't what it was. They were designed to like briefly come into politics and get back out into their old career. They want to become, career politicians and make a career out of it. That's not the way it's supposed to be. That sheriff that doesn't enforce the Constitution, he might want to run for this next higher level government. And he knows if he doesn't follow rules, guess what? He has no chance. And that they pigeonhole these people into different political parties, where Republican, Democrat. I don't believe in political parties, in my opinion. Vote for the person, not the party. Too many people voting for the party. Oh, they believe A, B, C, D, E. So do I now. Even if they don't agree with C, D, and E, they might agree with A, B, but I gotta believe in all of it because that's what my party said to believe in. That's bullshit, in my opinion. So.
But if the sheriff's not in agreement, how did the cops get away? And these are questions, I'm not asking you for the answers,
Right.
I'm not saying you
Yeah,
have it.
thinking out
But
loud.
if the sheriff is not in agreement with what's happening, how the hell did they get away with going into a mall today
Yeah,
and
who
shutting
told
down
them to
Court?
do that?
Do you know what I'm saying? How did they get away with that?
I'm
How?
guessing that came from
You
the
know?
state
It's gotta come from the state.
state level.
You look at that guy in Staten Island, the restaurant in Staten Island, the sheriff.
Max,
Yeah, the sheriff wasn't
Max, not that.
didn't want to go in and send people in there to shut them down. Cuomo and De Blasio sent their own people in. And
Okay.
shut that.
So that's what I'm trying to
So
like
it's kind
determine
of
in
like
my
you
head.
always come up from the higher up.
Is he still in business?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, there was a karate studio up there, or jujitsu, mixed martial arts studio in a bar. They had a big blowout last week, and they're planning on doing more stuff. It's on Staten Island. Something going on up there, but
They ruined that city and state.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I think New York has the biggest exodus of people along with California. I think something like 600 people in Manhattan are moving every day. And there's lines around the block from the U-Haul rental. You can't get a U-Haul for days because people are they're trying to get the hell out of there. The commercial real estate.
300,000 people.
What's that?
300,000 people moved out of the city.
So far, yeah, a lot of them are actually moving like out to that Yardley region, like Bucks County. A lot of them moving down there.
They're moving to southern Delaware.
Yeah, there too, sure. Yeah, real estate's going through the roof in certain areas here. If you're a seller, you can name your price almost, and you have 20 people bidding on your house.
Yeah, there was a house across the street from me that
Yeah.
was a big war.
So.
It's almost as if there's two separate realities happening at the same time. Like my niece is a indoctrinated doctor in New York
Yeah.
City, and she's like, everything's great here.
Right.
And I'm like, what? She's like, it's great.
Well, New Yorkers
Yeah,
think
there's
everything.
people going out filming hospitals for a
think
while.
everything's
Like
great
they weren't
there.
seeing
They
these
don't have
rents.
everything.
Yeah, there's something going on.
My boy was a barber.
Yeah.
So he owned 3 shops.
Uh-huh.
So he was bored as shit. So he literally drove around all the areas, hospitals. It's like there was nobody in the hospital.
Oh yeah.
So it's
It's
like
really
how much?
confusing.
How much? The crazy part is the people that like the virus or whatever it is. It's here. There's something that's here, obviously.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people that says
You know what I
it's
mean?
absolutely positive.
Yeah,
Nothing.
it's
There's something going on.
But there's
That's the question,
There's a
yeah.
deeper plan, and if you can't see that,
Yeah, it's the deep.
Well, what's
You know what I mean?
my
That's
question is,
scary.
what's the roots of this whole thing? Like, don't tell me it came from people eating bats in freaking wet
Yeah,
market in
I still-
Wuhan, China. Come on, man.
I still think it was
I,
something that was.
I was born yesterday. You know what I mean? That's just come on, stop. You know what I mean?
The scary part to me is the vaccine.
Oh,
you hear
that's the
some of
worst.
stories
Yeah,
about the
don't-
Well,
vaccine.
apparently in the United Kingdom, it started a week earlier than here. There's people behind closed doors saying convulsions and everything. Now that happens with vaccines all over the place. Well, not that I say it's good, but that's not a common side effect, but that is one of the side effects that can happen. However, what they're saying is an mRNA vaccine. It's not like old vaccines where you get a little dose of something and
This will change your DNA.
yeah, it's mess with your DNA. And what's happened is similar to, they say could happen, is similar back in the Spanish flu. Young and healthy people were dying. from that because it was attacking their immune system. They were having an overreaction, their immune reaction to it was causing them to die. Their overreaction of immune, and they're saying this might protect you against this particular strain of COVID, but when something else comes along, your immune system might attack harder and give you
Well, it's
It
gonna
would be a cyclonic storm.
cytokine storm. Yeah,
that,
cytokine.
that vaccine.
But I'm not a medical guy, but that's the gist of it that I understood. So.
I think to go back to her point, I think what people don't quite get is that when the law applies to protect you, there doesn't seem to be an enforcement mechanism of any kind. Like she said, well, the cops are there supposedly to protect you. No, they're there to enforce the law. Well, if the law is immoral, guess what happens? They're beating you up. You know, and that's kind of a problem. And that's why I want to go. Constitution,
no
great
law.
document. Right?
Yeah.
Constitution, great document. Probably
Yeah, if it's
as good as
enforced.
humans can write, right?
Yeah,
But if you don't enforce it,
it's a worthless
it's
piece of paper.
worthless, right?
Well,
And that's why you got to stand as humans and
well, they're supposed to be the three branches of government: the executive, president, House, Congress,
yeah.
Senate. But the fourth, not official, the fourth branch of government is supposed to be the media. They're supposed to hold their feet to the fire of the people running. But that's gone.
That's
I mean,
way
I don't know how you turn that around. That's just a machine, and you know they're determining the whole. The masses are just brainwashed on it. It's a huge wave, and it's come. You know,
We put that much
how do you
fear
combat
into
that?
people every day.
What's that?
We push that much fear into people every day, and you tell people that if you go out and you do this, you're gonna kill Danny, you're gonna kill.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Yeah, when you attack people's family, like, oh, they're gonna die. Even I start thinking, like, well,
course,
like
what
I was
do you
washing
think?
my hands. I met my son. I started washing my hands, staying a little bit further. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, you know, like, even I'm pretty damn open-minded. Well, that's the problem. You said you doctor. You said somebody in your family's a doctor, or
She's like a head nurse.
she's
like,
well. That's the problem. Very intelligent, smart people,
indoctrinated.
indoctrinated, but they're not. They're smarter than me. I'll tell you that. A lot of them are, but they're not getting. Where are they getting their information from?
Indoctrinated.
Right. Yeah.
Pharmaceutical companies, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, if they're, and they buy into it, and they're the hardest people to convince, because they think, I'm smarter than you, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, I'm not the greatest speaker, but they hear me talking, this guy don't know shit. But, again, it's common sense, eye test, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I look at.
I mean, at this point, for the past 8 months, the only businesses I've really supported are those that don't require mask mandates.
Mhm.
Yes, you can put I understand you need the sign on your window, but I
Right.
also know that when I walk in, I'm not gonna be harassed, and I'm gonna.
I don't have a sign on my window.
But, and I'll always, like, I think I've shared your stuff in our homeschool community for you're in Sellersville? Is that-
No, I'm in Dublin.
Okay,
I'm in
well, you
Dublin.
have to give me your information. But like, I'm all about connecting businesses, and I almost feel like that's what it's coming to. Like, I have a whole list of
And it-
businesses that you can go frequent
Connected.
that aren't gonna harass you.
What would be
And
good-
it's like a,
It's a good thing.
it's almost like, what's the, where, it's sneak,
Maybe.
you gotta get
Like
sneak.
Prohibition Day.
Right, and
That's what said speakeasies went off the chart. And
So
another
this
thing would be
is-
good to connect with your business is people using cash. They want to get
Yeah.
rid of cash.
Yes,
That's
they
another
do.
dangerous thing. That's a whole nother subject, but
Yeah.
that's dangerous too, yeah.
So, I don't know.
Now, is it true, like, I don't know how much you know about the Constitution, but they say, like, kind of like when 9/11 happened, when a true pandemic, or when they say a pandemic comes in, your constitutional rights basically get taken
But
away.
it's martial law and all that,
But
yeah.
the
I-
martial law doesn't even have to get.
That's the thing, it gets into that gray area, the legal speak and the interpretations of it, and that's where it gets crazy. That's where I'm clueless. I'm not clueless, but it's just, that's, people want to interpret this way, this guy wants to interpret that way, that one, you know, so it
This
depends.
all reminds me of like 9/11, when that happened, Patriot Act came out.
Oh, yeah.
You got the red, yellows, and greens when it was good to fly. Oh, it's red.
Yeah, orange,
Yeah, like you're
high alert,
scared.
reds, you're
You
under
get
attack,
blown up
yeah.
or something, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
This has been in the works for a
Very
really
long.
long
Yes.
time.
Well, like I said in my
Not-
video on
That's what I'm
Arnold's
saying.
yesterday,
I'm glad there's like
It's
people
called
that think like me. 'cause people
increment-
think, yeah, it's called me
incrementalization.
crazy all the time.
it's the boiling frogs thing. You put a big pot of water on a stove, throw a frog in there. It's not gonna jump out. It's heating up, and by the time you realize it's too late, it's already cooked. You know, that's basically what has happened. They apparently they make plans, 20-year plans, 50-year
It's
plans,
real, man.
social engineering. You know,
It's just
And then they're in the universities. They're controlling the universities. What's getting taught, the doctrine. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Our kids are getting. It's crazy because you don't think about it like when I was growing up. You see all these things and you listen to your teachers talk, and then, like I sit back now, especially with my kids being in school, I listen to some of the things that the teachers are saying.
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
crazy.
I'm just like, hold up, like, let me get you out of the fucking public school education
Yeah, I
system.
know.
Like,
I was a public school teacher. It
Yeah.
is horseshit.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lady who wrote a book, Charlotte Isby, I think her name is, The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. She was in the Reagan administration. She wrote a book years ago about, she was one of the higher up education department. She said the agenda they're pushing through to all the public schools, it's outrageous. Yeah. You know, yeah. They're attacking at all levels, you know, the information and truth and knowledge. That's where people have got to have conversations of opposing viewpoints and how you iron out and get a common ground to work with. Because we're all humans, we're all going to have different views, and you know, you got to get some sort of common ground and get enough. The tipping point, that's the thing. You know, revolutions. Apparently, you know, the American Revolution, what I understand, was 3% of the population was the only ones that really fought. And then eventually, once they built, they're called. There's a group out of people out there called the 3%ers. I know some militia guys. You would think off the hand, oh God, they're nuts. You know, this and that. I got talking to a couple of them. I'm like, well, they're not as crazy as you think. Once you start talking, some of them are crazy, but some aren't. You know, some of them are. They're very brilliant. They know the Constitution.
Well, I know a lot of them are ex-Marine, ex-Army. I have friends like
Yeah, a
that.
lot of them are ex-military.
And they're not white
And
supremacists.
they took an oath
They're
to-
not all these things.
They
that
swore an
tell
oath to
you.
protect the Constitution against
And they
enemies,
use-
foreign and domestic.
Yep.
That's key. We're the bosses, not them. They work for us, the government. We're the government. We the people.
Isn't the police force also the Constitution?
Yeah, they swear an oath, absolutely. If you're a local judge, a police officer, sheriff, you know, absolutely.
Yeah, they all swear to the Constitution when they get.
You put your hand, yeah.
But again, what enforces them to follow it?
Right.
You know, it's do it.
Well, like I
My
said,
job's on the line. I'm going to arrest
it's
them.
people.
Well, that's the thing.
It's people who take a stand at there's political levels, and if they want to run for a higher level, they get told like, look, this is what your agenda is. I don't care what you well-meaning you were looking to come in. You know, you might have been well-meaning when you first came in, but guess what? This is the way it's going to be. I know personally some close friends of mine that were in some low-level governments at the a town the size of Lansdale, somewhere close to where I grew up. And they tell me what goes on at that level, if you people knew. And then I've heard from people at the national, they all say behind closed door, the truth is stranger than fiction, and you wouldn't believe the crooked shit that goes on in those, you know, it's
It all
amazing.
starts from the bottom, man. That's like.
But like, it's grassroots, you got to start local and build out from there, because people have gotten to the point where they don't think voting really works anymore, you know. They don't, you know, screw voting, you know. But
Look at the election this year.
well, I mean, yeah, whether you buying, you know, whatever. That I don't even want to get. I have my own personal ideas, but like, yeah, I mean, that was a media job, you know. But yeah, I mean,
that could all just be distraction. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Whatever the biggest plan.
I mean, I think this whole thing is a big distraction. Super
well,
distraction.
but I always said
It's always been.
after 2-3, like I said, at first in March, I thought a little shutdown for a period of time might be good until we see what we're working with here. After I realized it was all bullshit, I said, you know what? This is going to go. I called it back in April, May. I said, this is going to go down in history. People are going to look at us, you know, 50 years from now, and be like, wow, they believe that shit. I can't believe it. Hopefully, they look back at that, and hopefully, people overcome that. But they're going to look back. You know, my grandkids or whatever are going to be like, wow, they believed it. This thing was killing me. You know, I think it's going to go down one of the biggest scams. It's the biggest thing that happened in modern history. I believe it's bigger
It's
than.
just the flu that kills people on a small level. That's it. So it does kill people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think
But it's just it's a guise to keep. There's so much happening that you don't know.
there was a guy named.
That's changing everything.
There's a guy
every
named
day.
Rahm Emanuel.
So,
He said, never
Be
let a
ready
good
for
crisis go to waste.
revolution and
Yeah.
be ready
Yeah.
to overthrow the
Yeah.
government. That's where this leads.
But they believe never let a good crisis go to waste. They want to use this crisis as an opportunity to take rights away. 9/11, COVID, all of it. That's their program to do that. Tyrants never stop. It's you know, they said you got to hold these people's feet to the fire, and people don't do that. People are too complacent. I'll admit I've been complacent. I'm just getting busy again for the first time in a while myself, and yeah. Most people are so busy working, they don't have time to do stuff like this. I could have worked tonight. I needed to work tonight, but I said I'm gonna take off. You know, I could have made $100, $200 tonight, but I said, nah, I'm gonna come out. You know, and I understand why people don't. People get to the point where like, oh, well, what can we do? I have friends that understand everything we're talking about. They're like, well, what can we do? That's where the powers be want you. They want you like, oh, what can we do?
Turn over and take it.
Well, yeah, and they also say, well, America's still the best country in the world. Well, good enough ain't good enough
For now.
me.
No.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah, I mean, you look at some civilized countries like Australia, what they're doing down there, they're like,
Oh my
that's
God.
nuts. That's freaking
Oh my
like,
God,
that's crazy.
People
People
in
get-
camps.
New Zealand and shit.
Yeah,
Put
it's
these
just-
little
what's
camps in New
happening.
Zealand.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just like literally making
Well,
you stay. They're almost like,
I'm
not exaggerating, almost like gunpoint, stay in your house, you can't come out. Now, there's cases down
It
there are
happened
low,
in the
but
1940s. They put Japanese Americans in
yeah,
camps.
it's,
Of course.
it's nuts down there. There's people getting thrown in jail. Yeah, and they're talking about they're going to talk about mandatory vaccines. You know, they may not from the government do that here, but what they're going to do is say, oh, you want to fly on this plane? You got to have a vaccination.
Yeah, you have
You
to have
want
a
to go to
card.
this concert?
Show your
You
card.
got to have a vaccination. You
Oh,
want this
it's
job?
just-
But jobs are already doing that. They're already saying. I know people out there are already saying they're going to have to get the vaccine. No doubt about it. That's without question.
So that's when enough people we like.
That'll
when it
kill
gets to
enough
that
people.
point. It's, well, yeah, the vaccine
There'll be
will
enough
kill
people
more
to fight
people
it.
than.
I hope so,
That's
because
the
that
thing.
vaccine can
And
kill a
that's
lot of
big
people.
about
The
that.
healthcare, you know,
Job
there's
or-
people going to do it. A lot of them. I know a lot of people
I
are going to
can't
do
Oh,
it.
my,
I
my
just
mom's
talked with
doing, my
nurses
brother's
about
doing.
They said it's bullshit. I just talked with medical professionals,
Yeah.
and I told them the time frame of things, and they're like, well, first of all, there's no such thing as free testing anymore. That's all a lie. It costs at least $150 if you don't have health insurance or whatever, you know, like me. So I didn't get tested because I didn't need to, and explained everything. They're like, well, you don't have it. They're like, you would have cleared it, and you know, because there's so much information that's being spread that's misinformation. So it only has a week-long incubation period, 7 days. That's it. And it'll probably end up going to be shorter. Let's look. Yeah.
It's
So
been changing since the beginning.
exactly, dude. It's all been just them trying to figure out ways to keep you
Enslaved.
under the enslaved. Well, you're in a slave planet.
Yep.
Welcome.
So aside from COVID, because I don't even want to give COVID any of my energy anymore, I'm done with
Yeah,
COVID.
fuck it.
I am more interested on not having these small businesses run under
Yeah,
big
exactly.
corporate businesses.
Yes.
Take
It's
jobs.
still-
But that was the whole point
That
of
is what
COVID.
I
That
like.
was why.
I understand.
Yeah,
So
so we
I'm
gotta
not-
fuck this shit up.
If you don't pay attention to something, it will go away. I do believe that. But, so I don't want to attract that to me anymore. But these small businesses, I think all of them need to get on a get funding page, not GoFundMe, getfunding.com. Get one set up on your website, and every small business should have that. I would take my money and distribute it throughout these small businesses that if you did need to hire a constitutional lawyer for whatever reason, you have those resources available, you know, and like, we just, and have a, like, let people know what businesses are open that aren't adhering to these mandates.
Do you have a list?
I do.
You do have a physical
I
list?
can get that list to Arnold. I do have a list, yeah. There's a list on
And
the
why-
reopen box page.
That would be really helpful.
Yeah, there's a list, and those are the only places they're the only places I'll you know, give my money to at this point.
Along those lines, why don't the businesses in different certain communities just get together and talk and say, look, we're not going to take it anymore. Get the police in on
Gotta
your
get
local
tipping
cops, get
point,
the
yeah.
local mayor in on it, and say, any goons from the state come, you all arrest them.
Right.
Let's
Yeah.
put it on jail, see how all that works for them. I mean, if every community did that, how are they going to stop you? They can't. They
Yeah,
wouldn't have the
it's
power, they
strength in
don't have the
numbers. Strength in
Yeah.
numbers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Typically,
Now, not everybody's
again,
going to go
typically.
along, but you don't need the majority. You need enough, though. You need that core.
There's that saying: at first, you're ridiculed.
Yeah.
Then
First,
First you're ridiculed.
Yeah.
Then you're questioned. Then
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm
I
talking about,
I
yeah.
do know that saying.
then at the end they're following you because you took the stand. Yeah. Got a quick joke for you.
Just make sure no one's watching who walks out of here.
So government walks up to you, right? Has a baseball in its hand, baseball bat, whacks you in the knees. You fall down, picks you up, hands you a cane, says, "See, without me, you wouldn't be able to walk."
Good job, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.